Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about the understanding of Donald Trump's death, understanding the nature and everything going around that. We have two channel messages for today's video. We have understanding the nature of Donald Trump's death, and we are going to break that down. This was channels yesterday, May 20th, 2025. And then we have here as well is Where the Impossible. Because now that I'm realizing I need my other book. I can't believe I forgot my book. So I'm going to go ahead and get that. So hang tight. But before we do begin, I do want to quickly say the channel is being recorded on none other than Wednesday, May 21st at 11:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time after when I'm recording this specific video. If you want to help out the channel grow, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting the bell icon, engaging with the content, sharing this video with other people, and just letting me know what you guys think of today's content. Also as well, is that you can watch this video longer than normal and you'll be able to help the algorithm of this YouTube channel. Now, if you want to be notified when I do post and upload, because YouTube does not really always notify you, I have a solution. You can follow my Blue Sky account or my Facebook group in the description below, and I will personally be the one notifying you when I do post and upload. On Facebook, I also do provide gardening tips if that's something up your alley. Anyway, this video is just for entertainment purposes only, for educational purposes only as well. So I hope you guys have a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy this content. But there's a lot more enlightenment or opening. Again, every video, if you are new here, and if you have pre-existing subscriber, welcome. Every video on my channel is like an episode into a larger series of life, and each video is intertwined, interconnected. That is how the universe designed everything, and so I try to replicate that in the best formalities possible. So you're going to start to see a lot of polarities, especially in this specific video, that ties in all my other videos that I've been covering over the past couple of years. So this video is really going to be the one that really nails it right in the coffin. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's go ahead, let's begin. We have a lot to get through today. I do want to quickly say for Community Spotlight, for those of you guys who have, to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all those type of things. We have Renee Burney, so thank you. You had just shown up on Community Spotlight. I wanted to make sure that you were aware that you also came on Community Spotlight. So again, it's AI algorithm, so it's based on your activity, and it just recommends a whole bunch of people. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy it. Let's go ahead, let's begin. But before we do, give me a second. I'm going to get my other book so we can be able to have all the context that we need, and I'll be right with you. Give me like a second. All right, thank you for hanging tight. All right, so let's go ahead, let's begin. All right. I wanted to make sure that I had all the contact, all the information. Again, this video is just for entertainment purposes only, for educational purposes only as well. As all of you guys have been with me for quite some time, you probably are aware of my video talking about Donald Trump and Joe Biden being linked together via fate. We talked about Happy Death Day series, everything's going to happen kind of post Donald Trump's death, and what's going to happen during the lead up of Donald Trump's death. This is a continuation of that Happy Death Day, but I'm not going to title it that. We do have here, let's go ahead, let's just start channeling and let's just go from there, okay? Okay. Alright, so this is called Understanding the Nature of Trump's Death. Now, this was something that I was doing during my job. They obviously don't like that, so they're switching over from paper, but in the meantime, we're channeling with it. Channeled at 1:40 p.m. on May 20th, 2025. So that's when I channeled this one. And this is what it says here. As many of you have heard about the bizarre nation where Trump supposedly dies, his outcome is not fixed, but rather data which is based on two sole factors: Biden's fate and his willingness to follow the divine order. Power may have gotten to his head, and his soul may not want to let go, but he has to. He had no choice in the matter. If he is not somehow gone within the next 5 days, so within 4 days, as of when I recorded this, and this is what's channeled on May 20th, so within the next 4 days, then expect May 25th to mark the day in which his body breaks down in such a rapid manner that within months he's unrecognizable with his sheer weight loss. Trump can go out many ways, from plane being shot out of the sky, plane crash, car crash, assassination, food poisoning, lead poisoning, STD, um, drug overdose, stress, AIDS, cancer, kidney failure, apnea. He dies in his sleep. I think that's what it is. It says here, as you see, there are many ways, but most are not natural, but rather self-inflicted or inflicted upon him by the natural order. Trump's death is strange yet natural. It will feel real yet fake. A feeling of having to experience it before. That is true because you have. He lived in every timeline, and that is why it feels like he's invincible. But be not of understanding, for that all is connected. And remember, we told you about him screwing with time. Well, you will see how that affects the way he goes. So it's saying here that, with him screwing with time, it will affect the outcome of how he goes. And it seems to be hinting in a particular way it won't be as nicely as most people have died. At times, his death will feel real, but also not, because he will be taken to court by, quote, the impossible, for messing with time. His body may not be of the current one, but rather that of an older version of him. Replaced by himself, not even a clone, but rather a time capture copy, one that wasn't supposed to exist. If Trump doesn't follow his sole purpose on May 25th, 2025, they'll be coming to take him away by any means necessary. He has 5 days to hold up his end of the bargain, or, quote, the impossible will seize him. The end of channeling at 2:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 20, 2025. You can kind of see that's here, channels. Alright, so that is the first channeling. The second channeling we're going to do with the impossibles. In order for you guys to understand the whole context, I have to read it to you, and then we're going to break it down, try to decipher it, and if we have time, we'll do some cards. If not, we'll do part 2. Alright, anyway. It says here, quote, we're the impossibles. And I'll tell you what they told us before in the last time the impossibles came in. Alright, so channeled at 2:16 p.m. on May 20th, 2025. Hi, greetings, Earthlings. We come to inform you of a bizarre phenomenon happening not only within our galaxy, but across time as well. Therefore, our team of highly classified and trained individuals were designed to meet this very moment that we are experiencing now. We may appear to be extraterrestrials, but we are anything but that. Instead, we are closely working with the angelic realm to solve the timeline crisis, which we have done. We restored the original with minor changes. Trump's uncle played a role here. But in order for the new timeline to work, he must go missing. But that failed because Trump still managed to have the ingredient to mess with time. So we restored everything back as we said. We restored everything back as we said, with Trump's history intact. No matter what we did to resolve the order prior to the Trump receiving the time-sensitive matter, they always managed to in every timeline, never for good. So it's been decided by the council to have him arrested and charged for attempt to alter time. The reason for his own mother's manic episode is a direct side effect of screwing with time. It's interesting how simple time truly is when you do away with the man-made nonsense. But anyway, we wanted to reach out to you guys to let you know you're going to start to see weird, unexplainable things. But that is just us. Trump and his regime may say it's an alien attack in the last attempt to get away with it. So that is why we plan to take him near his death day, which is why for a moment it will feel fake, but it's not. Just a younger version taking his place as the older one gets put on trial. You will see a lot more of us after Trump, but we will wink on TV so you know it's us. Hopefully you remember. Be of the light with the light, always. The Impossibles. End of channel at 3:42 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on May 20th, 2025. Okay, that is the second channel, and this is the Impossible responding to how Donald Trump died. Now, I did say that there was a little contradiction here that I remembered. I had to see. What is that? It says here the current one, but rather that of an older version of him, and this one says younger. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I don't even have an explanation for that. Alright, so then here we're going to take our channel book where the Impossibles last came in. This book was called and was told for me to write down Journey to the Center, The Revival of a Kinkling, Volume 3. Now remind you, I don't have a Volume 1 or Volume 2. But somehow, he told me Volume 3. Little strange. But okay, anyway. This is the channel in. This was recorded on January 20, 2025, and it's called Be Not Afraid, channeled at 10:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's here. Be not afraid that Trump has won, for all for naught. For that is the people's election, not his. He chose to take for which is not his, and for that he suffers. This error is about the people, and he will learn very quickly not to piss them off, for that he will. His ambition is greater than his actions, for that he will fail and piss off the people, for that they will personally see fit to extort him out, for that he does not belong. He took it from a woman, and he's about to learn why. You think he will get away, for that we say he will not, for that his luck had just ran out. He will suffer per the price, and he is to obey the people or fail. And oh, that oligarchy that you are aware of will not last. For that, I have made it my mission to fill it up with men who have their heads so far up they can't see what's pushing them out. Don't think that we have forgotten about you, because we haven't. Life is no longer on Donald Trump's side anymore after today, which is January 20th. He cannot run. He cannot hide. For that we made him visible to the naked eye. Open them wide, we are talking to you. Trump was inaugurated today to expose him. For that his people who thought he was their hero will soon learn that that isn't the case. He will once again betray the American people. Not new news, but it's how he does it that pisses the people off. This country will struggle for quite some time, without the people forgotten how bad he was in 2020. This time, we give you 4 more years to remember. For that you've forgotten. Doesn't mean it's going to take 4 years. It could be 4 months, it could be whatever. Be not afraid, for that I will not let him touch and hurt you. We know that this is not a battle of the physical, but rather that of the metaphysical between the light and the dark. Trump is not to cross a certain barrier, or else he is done, and we mean D-O-N-E, done. He is on strict order to follow his life path and so purpose or else. He is a rebel in all of nature. This timeline, like many others, are seeing him cause major problems. Yours is not alone. Understand this. He is not immune. He is just lucky. But like I said, it has run out. And for that, many of you would ask, why couldn't they have done it sooner? It's because he followed his sole purpose. However, he played with time, causing ripple effect everywhere. He is guilty with treason of time. We are, quote, the Impossibles, a time-stopping group to stop the abuse of time. He is a number 41 threat lister. We work very closely with the divine to protect time. Make no mistake, this wasn't supposed to happen, but yet they managed to do something not yet known to man, and abuse that knowledge for 4 years of power, which is pathetic in itself. Therefore, we decided to make it his time in office hell. Take pleasure knowing you can enjoy his suffering, but that he did not want to become president. LOL. He will learn not to mess with us and our people. He will cause temporary destruction in the United States, but it will backfire 10 times more on him. There is more for us to say at this time, but we will save it for the next time. So enjoy the ride. Soon she'll be your guy. End of channel at 11:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on January 20, 2025. So you can kind of see here, it says here soon, she'll be your guy. Alright, so this was the message from The Impossibles. It aligns pretty much with what they've been saying, except it's been pretty much more focused on the punishment. This is telling you what's happening after he died if he refuses to follow his soul purpose and soul path. Alright, so now in this video we are going to talk. We're going to read it again and we're going to break it down, try to decipher it. And you guys let me know what you guys think it might mean as well. I'm really curious to see. And then we go from there. So let's do the first one. Wow, that was only 15 minutes. And we went through so much content. Anyway, it says here, understanding the nature of Trump's death. Channels at 1:40 p.m. on May 20, 2025. As many of you have heard about the bizarre nation where Trump supposedly dies, which is talking about May 25th, 2025, which is something that has been stated on the channel for quite a while. It says here, his outcome is not fixed. So it's saying here, it's not guaranteed that he's going to die on May 25th, 2025. But rather that which is based on two sole factors, Biden's fate and his willingness to follow the divine order, which we have spoke about for both of them, that his sole purpose, he's here to do his sole purpose. And as with sole purposes, you also need to align and honor when you are supposed to go. But also Biden's fate is also tied and intertwined with Donald Trump. And remember, for spirit as well, is that Donald Trump and Joe Biden were born in the Gregorian calendar, which is missing a month. We were supposed to have 13 months, but instead it took away 13 and replaced it with 12 because of taxes and payments for whatever. For whatever that purpose is, Spirit does not understand the nature of our time frame. So his time frame might be a little off here. So kind of keep that in mind going forward. But the same here that he needs to follow his divine order, which is his sole purpose, his life contract, and also Biden's fate, which will also determine Donald Trump's fate. And we have consistently read on this, which we know we now have proof from the spiritual realm that that is true. We have here power may have gotten to his head, and his soul may not want to let go. But he has to. He has no choice in the matter. If he is not somehow gone within the next 5 days, which is really the next 4 days, then expect May 25th to mark the day in which his body breaks down in such a rapid manner that within months he's unrecognizable with his sheer weight loss. I think this is just essentially saying, kind of like with the obvious here, is saying that if he does not go on May 25th, 2025, May 25th, 2025 will instead mark the day that his body starts to deteriorate at such a rapid pace. You ever like met somebody who is healthy, completely healthy, it's an older person, they're completely healthy, nothing wrong with them, then you see them a month later and they're dead? And that's normally because like their body was breaking down, but it just happened at such a fast pace. It happened almost practically overnight. Within less than a month, they were dead. That happened with my mom's friend's father. He was completely healthy. He went to the doctor. He was completely fine. And then 4 weeks later, he was pronounced dead, and he lost almost more than 100 pounds within that month. So sometimes when things appear to be healthy, that's not always the case. There could always be something behind the scenes. And you know, it's interesting too because we talked about this pretty briefly on the channel about death, but death is a very interesting complex concept because it's different for everybody. It's applied differently. But essentially, the moral of the understanding here for death and how death works and how death operates is essentially, in hindsight, is when somebody is, what's it called? Was reincarnated here. So this also applies to people with Alzheimer's and dementia. We're going to talk about this more. We're going to talk about people with autism and people with Down syndrome and stuff like that. Brilliant people, by the way, brilliant. But essentially, when death happened and death occurred, particularly within the mind and the body of the individual. And just say, for example, you have your soul contract, and now you're supposed to die at 50, but now you're 60. But your soul contract is at 50 years old, but you died at 60. That is because that 10-year gap is not you living longer. It's the memory of you still within the muscle memory, but another spirit could take over. For example, the best way I can describe this is a new car. You go to a car dealership, you buy a new car, right? Then after 4 years, you give it back because it's a lease, right? And the next owner takes over, and that car has some issues, but then they drive it, and then it gets passed on. Same way with the soul contract is that once your time is up, you are gone, and something else will take its place if the vehicle is still viable enough to be driven. So that's essentially how Alzheimer's and dementia work. That is why a lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's, they oftentimes more than not feel like an entirely different person, because entirely it is. They are an entirely different person. They are an entirely different soul. They are an entirely different spirit. Yes, there is some remnant of what has been there. That is all much memory. But that person, that spirit, that thing is gone. That's why I say, and I have noticed consistently with clients where somebody has died, they have already died before their body died. So if, for example, somebody has Alzheimer's or dementia, they have died prior to their physical body death. And therefore, they have an easy time transitioning because they had years in advance to transition. Whereas the body, well, it's going to take a little bit longer. So that is why some people with Alzheimer's and dementia actually have it a lot easier when it comes to death because they transition more rapidly and they don't remember to hold on to the burden. They don't get burdened by the everyday reality because they don't remember. It doesn't go with them. It lives on to the next individual who takes over their body. Same concept. So, going back to the reading here, we have here is that his body breaks down in such a rapid manner. So that means that if this day, for example, 45 does not pass away, something else is going to take its form. The question is what's going to take Trump's form? What is going to install itself within inside of Trump's body? Trump's body at this point is a vehicle. Right, so you're going to start to see the energy to be a little bit wonky, a little bit different than what we're used to. We're going to start to experience that after May 25th, 2025. Right? And Dave already said that it's going to be somebody different, and it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so going back to the reading here, it says here Trump can go out many ways, from plane being shot out of the sky, plane crashes, car crashes, assassination, food poison, lead poison, STD, drug overdose, stress, AIDS, cancer, kidney failure, apnea, dies in sleep. That's pretty much straightforward. It says here, as you see, there are many ways, but most are not natural, but rather self-inflicted or inflicted upon and by the natural order. So what is he saying here? He's saying that the way that 45 goes is he goes by two different orders. So he goes by the first order, which is essentially self-inflicted harm, which means that maybe he caused cancer, maybe he took a chemical and it caused cancer. That's self-inflicted, or something that is inflicted upon him by others or others who decide, or being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Right? Nature takes care of the problem. So it's either you are self-inflicted or nature inflicted upon you. In this aspect, 45 had the luxury of experiencing one or the other. But it's within the natural order of things in which it's supposed to be eliminated. So he's going to be eliminated in the order in which it's natural, at least to death. We have here Trump's death is strange but yet natural. So it's saying that his death is going to be a little bit weird. He may not die the way that most people do. It would feel real, yet fake. A feeling of having to experience it before, like deja vu. But that is true because you have. He lived in every timeline, and that is why he feels like he's invincible. Once it makes sense. They talked about here have them trying to fix the timeline. Them trying to fix the timeline. So obviously it makes a lot of sense. And also it talked about here as well. It talked in particular about how when Trump does die, you have experienced it multiple times because they were trying to figure out what timeline is the best one, and they ended up landing us back into our original timeline, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. We said about the timeline goes back to its original timeline. That they fixed it. Well, it makes sense, they did. It says here, he lives in every timeline. That is why he feels like he's invincible. But be not of understanding, for that all is connected. Connected. Remember, we told you about him screwing with time. Well, you will see how that affects the way he goes. So they're saying here that one of his punishments is the way that he goes. His death will be a form of punishment to him. Because maybe he agreed to maybe have an easy death in his soul contract. Well, if he goes against that, well, he's not going to be as easy, now is it? We have here at times his death will feel real, but also not. Because he will be taken to court by the quote, the impossibles. For messing with time, his body may not be of the current one, but rather that of an older version of him, which is interesting because the other one said younger version. So I don't really know how that plays out, but we'll understand it a little bit as we get closer. So I'm not going to comment too much on it. We do have here replaced by himself, not even a clone, but rather a time capture copy, one that wasn't supposed to exist. If Trump doesn't follow his sole purpose on May 25th, 2025, they'll be coming to take him away by any means necessary. He has 5 days to hold up his end of the bargain or, quote, the impossible will seize him. So he can go, or essentially saying here is that he can either take the easy way out or take the hard way out. The question is the choice is his, but they're saying essentially he has no choice. He has no way. He has to make the choice. The question is what way is his body going to do? What way is his soul going to do? Right? The next one, we're just going to break down the impossible, then we're going to read. Let's hear a quote. We're the impossible, challenge at 2:16 on May 20th, 2025. It says, "Hi, greetings, Earthlings. We come to inform you of a bizarre phenomenon happening not only within our galaxy, but across time as well. Therefore, our team of highly classified and trained individuals were designed to meet the very moment that we are currently experiencing now." Pretty interesting. They refer to us as Earthlings. Okay? They said they come to inform us of a bizarre phenomenon happening not only within our galaxy, but across time as well. Okay, we may appear to be extraterrestrial, but we are anything but that. Instead, we are closely working with the angelic realm. So they say that they are not extraterrestrial. They say they are within our galaxy because they're screwing with time. But it doesn't really specify who and what they are. It just says that they are working very closely with the angelic realm, but they may appear to be extraterrestrial, but anything but that. Interesting. To solve the timeline crisis, which we have done, we restored the original with minor changes. So they're saying that they were able to be successful in restoring the original timeline, but there's a caveat. There are some changes that occurred, minor changes, but minor changes can lead to big changes, so kind of keep that in mind. We have here Trump's uncle played a role here, but in order for uncle played a role here, but in order for the new timeline to work, he must go missing. But that fails because Trump still managed to have the ingredient to mess with time. So they're saying here that they created a timeline, a new timeline. They're saying essentially what they did was they tried to create a new timeline, trying to change the outcome of John Trump, which is the uncle of Donald Trump. But because they were unsuccessful in doing that, and Donald Trump family, the Trump family, got a hold of the time capsule and how it works and how it functioned, it became irrelevant. It became useless anyway. It says here, so we restored everything back, as we said, with Trump's history intact. So they didn't change anything with Trump's history. They just changed everything back to its original thing, with the mere exception of his mother being a manic. So no matter what we did to resolve the order prior to every timeline, I never forgot. So they're saying despite every instance where they tried to go and find a solution, they found that every time the Trump family have encountered the time energy and the time ingredients in order to mess with time. So they said here that no matter what they did, it would still end up in the same result, in the same scenario. So they decided by council to have him arrested and charged for attempt to alter time. Which makes sense. That's essentially what the Impossible said in this book. We have here the reason screwing with time, for attempt to alter time. The reason for his own mother's manic episodes is a direct side effect of screwing with time. So the more he screws with time, the more she goes manic, essentially. I don't know what that means, but manic. We have here, it's interesting how simple time truly is when you do away with the man-made nonsense. So saying here that time is very easy to get your head around when you start to do away with those man-made rules and ideas and concepts. It starts to make a lot of sense how time works. But anyway, we wanted to reach out to you guys to let you know you're gonna start to see weird, unexplainable things. That is just us. Trump and his regime may say it's an alien attack, in a last attempt to get away with it. So that is why we plan to take him near his death day. So they're saying here that 45 and his regime may possibly announce that there's an alien attack, but there isn't really an alien attack. They're saying that they're going to thwart that plan entirely and try to take him on his death day, the day that he's close to dying. Which is why for a moment, it will feel fake, but it's not. Just a younger version taking his place as the older one gets put on trial. You will see a lot more of us after Trump, where we will wink on TV so you know that is us. Hopefully you remember, be at the light, with the light, always the impossibles. So it's kind of interesting how like they said that like they're going to make themselves known to us, and that they're going to be more relative in our lifetime. They're going to be here in the physical. I don't really know what I think about the impossibles. I mean, it would make sense that there would be a formality and organization that will be designed to protect time, right? Because, with man's intent is not always pure, right? So let's go ahead, let's begin, let's find out what we're going to be talking about in today's video. We're going to talk about understanding Donald Trump's death. We're going to do it very briefly, and then we'll talk about the impossible, whether they're legit or not, and then we end off today's video. And if you guys want a part 2 to this, we'll do a part 2. All right, anyway, let's do understand Trump's death, the nature of Trump's death. Okay, let's go. Spirit angels tell me about the nature of Donald Trump's death that was recorded yesterday on May 20th, 2025 at 1:40 p.m. The nature of Donald Trump's death. Can you tell us a little bit more about this? About Trump's bizarre death and that him having 4 days left to make a decision on his soul? What choice will Donald Trump make? What outcome will we experience? What outcome will we experience according to Donald Trump's death? What outcome will we experience according to Donald Trump's death? What outcome will we experience? So the outcome is death here, right? The outcome is death. We have here the final nail in the coffin. Actually, that's what today's video should be called. The final nail in the coffin for 45. So the final nail in the coffin for 45. Okay, you can't make this up. All right, so let's see if we can get some more information. This is my homemade tarot deck. To understand the nature of Donald Trump's death, what timeline are we likely to experience for Donald Trump's death? Give me a card that represents each card's meaning for the right away. Give me a card that best represents and best reflects the energies of each card. Okay. The Page of Pentacles. What card best reflects Donald Trump's death and its likely outcomes? Okay. The Empress Reverse. A card that best reflects that energy for Donald Trump's death. Okay, what about his death? The Death card and the Four of Swords. And anything else in regards to Donald Trump and his death? Okay, the bottom is joy and happiness. Joy and happiness, okay. The top of the deck here, we have this. It's not going to be nothing. It's going to be something that's going to be different. But it's not going to be a tower. It's something that's going to be different. It's not going to happen fast. It's going to happen slowly. Interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's take a look at Trump's death and let's see what timeline that he decided to choose. What choice did he make in the matter? Well, the first card that comes in is we have the Four of Pentacles. I mean, the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands reverse is a very interesting card because in this aspect here, it's talking about life, right? Life after death. It's talking about life in particular. And now that I'm starting to realize it, because the card is reversed, this is happy time, these people coming together, right? But it kind of give me like a wake or a funeral, but it doesn't feel like a wake. It feels like it's closed off, like something is closed. There's something here that's closed. What's closed? We have here something with clouds or sun. But that's reversed. It's not partly cloudy. And normally, if you guys all realize, is that whenever somebody dies, it's always either raining or it's very cloudy. It's never sunny. I've never been to a funeral, never been to a wake that's ever been anything but that weather. Right? The energy is just drawn to the sadness and despair. But 45, something is closed off with 45. And it doesn't bring in those clouds, it doesn't bring in those rain, it doesn't bring in the sun. But there is something here. There is something here to close. Maybe we're not supposed to know the weather event. We do have the Knight of Cups. Oh, I'm also getting a hurricane. So he could possibly die at the time of a hurricane. And that could be indicating why um, he can't get the services that he needs. We do have the Knight of Cups reversed. The Knight of Cups reversed is fast paced, but moving at a steady pace. It's moderate, if you will. But it's reversed, it's not moderate. Whatever's moving is not moving moderately. It's moving a little bit carefully, treading cautiously. And this is nation, people, background. Moving cautiously with background. So there's something here that people are moving very slowly, because there's a lack of contact, there's a lack of understanding here. Because we have the Page of Pentacles. It's not necessarily a gift. Right? It's not necessarily a gift. What is that not gift? We have purple. And purple means I see what I speak. I see what I speak. The gift, that is not a gift, is he sees what he does not speak. So staying here that there is a lack of communication or the inability to communicate effectively. But there's a possibility that Trump could actually die and then be re-executed again. Right? Because he says here, I see what I speak. But there's something here. There's a manifestation. There's also a manifestation here. What we have the Empress card in reverse, which is the woman, the female, right? The grounding. This is off the throne. This is, again, guys, we all know that on the channel, I always talk about anybody who's sitting on a chair, indicates that you are in control, you are in power, you are winning, you are going to win. It's reversed. It means that you lost, you're removed, you're no longer in position to power, you're no longer in control. Right? This is talking about what timeline we're going to enter into for his death. The first card that comes in is heart. So the first thing that he's going to experience is she's going to feel, I'm getting water, or a clogging of the heart, or a clogging of an artery, or a burst of an artery. Then underneath there, so we also have here, we have the sunrise. The completion of the sun is starting to open. It's right, it's almost done. It's going to become fully in the open. So, what does this mean for us? This could mean two different things. This could mean, depending on how you perceive it, this could be the sun that's coming out and rising, or it could be the sun that's setting and slowly going down. The thing is, the whole story is that the heart rising, but also going down, right? But because the heart is in reverse and the sun card is upright, it's indicating the heart is going down. The heart is going down whilst the pressure is going up. Now remember, when sun beats on something, especially like to say, for example, you were to take a glass box to put it outside. It's going to heat that box. Imagine a heart that cannot function properly getting heated and heated and heated. Now, this could be a manifestation of anger, right? Anger can do this. Anger can burst an algorithm. It can burst an artery. But it also be something with severe heat. I'm hearing heat paralysis. I don't even know if that's a thing. Actually, I want to see if that is a thing. Just out of curiosity, because that's a word that I just received. I'm like, heat paralysis? Never even heard of that. Okay, heat paralysis. Okay, actually, apparently it is. It says here, heat paralysis is a misleading term. While severe heart stroke can lead to serious neurological damage, including potential paralysis, it's not a direct cause of paralysis in the same way a stroke is. Brain damage from a heat stroke can have various effects, including paralysis, but not a consequence of the damage, not the condition itself. Elaboration: heat stroke and the brain. Heat stroke can cause brain damage. This happens when the body temperature regulation system fails, leading to dangerously high core body temperature. The brain, being sensitive to extreme temperatures, can be affected. Potential complication: brain damage from heat stroke can manifest as various neurological problems, including paralysis, speech impairment, and memory loss. Right? So that is interesting that actually is a word here. Anyway, going back into the reading. Back into the reading, we have the Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is again this funeral card. This is the funeral, the end of an era, the end of a political dynasty. It's an ending. Knowing when the last sword could be up. Now remember, we have the bottom deck here, we have the Three of Swords, right? The Three of Swords goes right into the heart. Talk about the heart. Or it goes right into the heart in some way. It's the aneurysm, it's the clot, it's the blood, it's the arteries, the vein, right? It's the Three Swords. The Three of Swords takes him out. And here you have the last sword laying in rest with him. So this is the funeral card. Now we all know that when the death card is upright, I've always indicated there could be restoration, there could be a way forward. This could be a transition in life, transitioning from the physical into the metaphysical, right? This, in this aspect, when it's reversed, means that you don't get that opportunity. You don't get the opportunity to transition. You don't get the opportunity to leave. So if let's say, for example, in a hypothetical scenario, that Donald Trump does get executed per this card, then his punishment is to live it out in pain and agony. But he does not allow the transition. He does not allow to be happy, to be peacefully transitioned over. The death card, though, being in reverse, could also indicate another thing, is that he transitioned over, but he's not allowed to go into the light. It's almost like he haunts the White House. He haunts the ghosts. He's like the new ghost. He ends up in purgatory. He can't go into the light because he's too dark, but he can't go into the dark because he's too light. It's a very weird zone. It's like a gray area, if you will. We have home, right? Home for his death card. Now it's interesting as well because a lot of you guys are going to ask, a lot of you guys are going to be asking, Chris, I don't understand why you said he's light, but also dark. Because how could you be punished for something that's within your soul contract? If this is something that you're supposed to do, then you should not be punished for it. That is why he considered light, because he did it with the intention of following his life purpose. If he was aware of it, it's not the matter. The matter is that within the soul contract, you cannot be punished. For example, if you were supposed to go and kiss somebody, but you're married to somebody else, and that's part of your soul contract to help the other person, well, essentially, how can you be punished for something like that in the metaphysical world when you agree to it on a soul contract level basis? That's contradicting, right? In this aspect, same situation here. Now, going back into the reading here, we have the home card. And the home card is very interesting because it's talking about death within the home, the death within family, death within the family value, right? Death within who you are as an individual. Also, death within being in jail, feel like you can't escape, feel like you have no choice, right? Feeling like you have no choice. A natural disaster. Now it's interesting, I talked about how it felt like possibly a hurricane, if you will, right? He could die during a natural disaster, or he could feel like he had no escape within his home. I mean, you can't make this up. But again, what could this also mean on a methodological level? How can we interpret this in a very different way? Well, let's interpret it in a very different way. Well, first you have the Four of Wands in reverse with the partly cloudy card. And the fact that the both of them are reversed are indicating to us that there's inequality within the home stand. Where he's talking about his alignment with his root chakra. He's not in alignment with his foundation. He's not aligned with who I am, right? The next card that follows in is the Knight of Cups, which is talking about here being cautiously and taking your step cautiously, right? This is talking about your communication factor. You're not being cautious with how you speak. You're speaking before you're being cautious. The next card is we have the Page of Pentacles reversed. The Page of Pentacles reversed is the gift, but it's reversed. It's not a gift. It's what do you call it? It's almost like a curse. And here you have is the third eye chakra, which is represented by purple. It's the violet card. It indicates to us, I speak what I see. I speak what I see. But it's not the gift because he's not speaking what he's seeing. He's speaking, but he's not seeing. That's the difference. We have the Empress. The Empress is reversed. This means ambulance, out of throne, out of power, not in control of who you are, not in control of how you're grounded. Because of all these issues here with his chakras, he is starting to manifest into the physical. And this is where you start to see it. What you have here, you have the aneurysm, the artery, the blood, to transfer something, something being transferred throughout the body. Then you have here either something rising from the horizon, something going down from below the horizon. It's yet to be determined. Remember, we talked about before in one of my videos recently. We have here, within this region here, that there is energy here, that where he's going to feel the most pain. Right below the diagram, but in the upper region of the diagram, that is where his pain's going to be. And this is why the Emperor's card is coming in reverse, because it's something with blood, or the transfer of blood here. I don't know what organs are here, but there's something with blood, and it has to do with either something rising above it or something going right below it. But it's going to be within this realm here, this little band right below the rib cage. Now, as you go into the last section of reading, you have the four swords. And the four swords in this instance is indicating to us the funeral card. Laying to rest. Know when it's time to lay your sword. Knowing that you have been defeated. And here you have the death card. And the death card is reversed. And it's saying here that you have no option. You may not be allowed to transition. The question is how is it going to play out? How is it going to play out? Is Trump going to pass away and will he be stuck in purgatory and become a ghost? Or is he going in some way not going to be allowed to transition into the light as a form of punishment? That is something that we're going to yet be able to have the answer to. And here we have the natural disaster. A natural disaster, remember, it says here, where is the natural order? Okay, it says here, as you see, there are many ways, but most are not natural, but rather self-inflicted or inflicted upon it by the natural order. We have here natural, then we have locking up. We talked about here the natural order of things, right, occurring. Then him being put in jail or being held in contempt, right, court. And then we have here his home for what he did. So again, it is also indicated to us what the reading has been telling us as well. That this is just describing in a very different formality, but the concept is still very much the same. Now this is talking about the understanding of Trump's death. Now, we're going to talk about the impossibles. I want to know if the impossibles are legit and if they are real. It appears so they are because they have come through twice. But we're going to verify their identity. And then we go from there. And then today's video will be over. I know this video is a little longer. It's not what I would wanted, but it's very important. We're entering very important times, so it's imperative that we do have the most amount of content for you. All right, so we're almost done, I promise. All right, Spirit Angels, tell me. Tell me about the Impossibles. And that was channeled on 2:16 p.m. on May 20, 2025. And also January 20th, 2025. Ironically enough, they were both recorded on the 20th of a month. Okay, so are those impossibles legit? Are they real? Are they a real time-stopping organization to ensure the safety of time and the kind continuum? Are they legit? Okay, this is the multi-reality of temperance trying to maintain peace within this, an equilibrium, making sure that all things are flowing easily. And here you have the King of Pentacles, making sure that control is not what's here, making sure you maintain order when needed, when called to. This is the ambulance. And here is the Five of Cups. Alright, so let me go take my other deck because I do have time directly in it. Okay, this is my homemade tarot deck. Spirit Angel, tell me about time. Tell me about time. The Impossibles, a legit organization or group of people protecting time and the time continuum. Are they legit? Are they legit, Spirit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and final card. Okay, so we have nuclear war. Right, the goal is to stop this outcome. On the bottom of the deck here, we have the rise of robots, which essentially means here is the resurrection of the dead. What else? So it's here, self-aware can bear children. But it's reversed. Because it's reversed, we have to look at the other side. This is the electoral margin. 217 House seats, 53 to 47 Senate, and 230 to 249 electoral votes, which is kind of like where the House is right now and where the Senate is. Ignore it there because this did not happen, but these two did. Okay. This is like verification. Alright, so let's take a look at the impossibles. We're trying to find out are they a legit group. Okay, so the first card that comes in is we have multiple different realities, right? Looking at things from different perspectives, trying to ensure everything kind of stays on its par. Here we have the next card that comes in as temperance, making sure you can maintain the equilibrium, the balance within all that. And once you'll be able to do that, you have the Ace of Cups, making sure things flow freely and effortlessly, and ensuring that no individual takes too much power to influence this. Can no longer change that. This is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles, making sure no individual has the power to remove them if they choose to seek to change that. Here you have the Chariot card, ensuring you're coming into fixed issues where there are issues. Right? Coming into fixed issues where there are issues. And the final card here is we have is the Five of Cups, which means knowing when you lost, but you have won. But here you have the Two of Cups. Despite having 5 here in the beginning, you're now left with 2 standing. It's essentially saying here that they went through a lot of missions, a lot of turmoil. They wanted to find what the best timeline is, and if there was any issue with their ride, to restore those original timelines and make sure that they are kept intact. The next card that falls underneath the Seven of Cups here, we have the Unpopular Leader. So the way these cards work, the way I designed them was, when a card is reversed, we flip it. We have your indecision, right? Trying to make a decision. Who's going to be the deciding factor, right? They make decisions on how to control the way things go. That there's pretty much a body, there's bipartisanship, and there needs to be able to be a lean of certain people from this group and certain group people from this group, and they're able to make on the body a decision on what is best for the timelines. We do have here underneath the temperatures, making sure that we control how things are getting transferred, how things are being affected, right? The immigration of that. We have here as well as we have the Ace of Cups, which is toxic family values, anti-gay Christian playbook. We have capitalism golden age, higher wages. Right, the 1950s. It's talking about making sure that we maintain things. Remember, the 1950s was when we start the first adventure of humanity leaving planet Earth orbit outward to the galaxy, right? This is making sure that things are equal, making sure that things maintain a certain temperance, if you will. We have here underneath the King of Pentacles reverse, we have the music industry, making sure that no one goes on too top, no one goes too above where they can go. Making sure that you beat to make sure you beat to the beat of your own drum, essentially is what I meant to say. Underneath the Chariot card here, coming in and fixing certain things, you have the witch trial. It's reversed. And because it's reversed, it says here black buys court trial, but it's reversed. It means electoral margin, 5248, 199, 212 seats, 269, 298 electoral votes. It's reversed. This is indicating to us here that sometimes they do ensure that things are going in the right direction, ensure that things are going as directed. The color here of this card indicates I feel how I feel. It's making sure that they are able to effectively heal that, but also as you start to get into the corner here, you start to get a little bit red. I know that color indicates to me, okay, I am laying the foundation and ensuring that that foundation is stable. That is what the Chariot card is indicating here. This electoral margin card is just indicating stability and making sure that they uphold that stability even with emotions. When here with the Five of Cups reverse, the Five of Cups upright, we have Democratic enthusiasm very high. But in reverse, we have the Democrats hold. This is the White House. But in this aspect here, it's talking about holding on to the original timeline. Holding on when things were altered, when things would change. And here you have the temperance card. And the temperance card is very interesting because we were supposed to experience a roaring 20s. We got anything but that, right? The post-influenza pandemic, right? Post-COVID pandemic. We didn't get that. But instead, we got a Republican hold. We got a Republican administration instead. And because of that, we were robbed of what could have been. We were robbed of what could have been. But that's okay. But that's okay because you have the immigration. So, in essence, is this telling us if in any way that the Impossibles are a legit group? Well, we're going to find out a little bit more information to see if we can get some clarity. Now, if you are aware, excuse me, of how these cards work, anything colored means major arcana. Anything white means minor arcana. So, Spirit Angels tell me, are the Impossibles a legit group? Are the Impossibles a legit group or organization? Is the Impossibles a legit group or an organization that is legit? Okay, the card that came up was Lovers and Depression. Okay. Okay, Spirit Angels tell me, is the Impossibles a legit group? Okay, they keep calling these pink cards purple, but they're not purple, they're pink. Unless I'm colorblind. Anyway, the card that comes up on top of the Ace of Cups and the King of Pentacles reversed is the Lovers card and Depression. Interesting. We have here Lovers and Depression. These are two very drastic things. You either have love or you have depression. The depression is downwards, facing in reverse, while the Lovers is upright. This means I feel with love. With depression, which means that it's telling us here that they're doing this within the light, or they're doing this with the good intention of the heart. That's why it says, I am a lover, but I am, and which means I don't speak stat, I speak of the light. So the Lover's card, the Impossible, is to speak in a very good way, in a very good fashion, a lighthearted way. We do have here as well as we have, we're asking, are they always a group? We have Thunder, Strike, and Reveal, possibly. Remember, they said at the bottom that they are going to reveal themselves. Let me read it to you. It says here. Okay, so Trump and his regime may say it's an alien attack in a last attempt to get away with it. So that is why we plan to take him near his death day, which is why for a moment it will feel fake, but it's not. So it's a younger version taking his place as the older version gets put on trial. You will see a lot more of us after Trump, but we will wink on TV so you know it's us. Hopefully you remember. That is what they said. So Thunder, the Strike here, is saying here that they will reveal themselves in due time. They will reveal, because it's a strike, it's a thunder, it's a shake-up. And here you have a reveal. What's the shake-up? It's the reveal, the revelation of who they are. So yeah, they will reveal themselves in due time. They will reveal themselves and what their mission is. Again, we talked about timeline here and ensuring that they are ensuring the timeline is accurate. And this is the Thunder. They're going to reveal themselves in due time. What's coming underneath the Ace of Cups and the King of Cups? I mean, the King of Pentacles reversed with the toxic family, the 1950s, with the going to the moon, and the music industry. We have here non-white, which makes sense. This is colored because you have here black and white, and this is colored non-white. It's saying here that there's a lot more color than what meets the eye, because the next card that falls underneath here would be under the age of the music industry. So go back to the music of the 1960s. There's going to be some indications here that said that they were here, that you've been here. Because look, we have here the 1950s in the music industry. The 1950s was black and white. But when you go into the 1960s, though, with jazz and all those type of stuff, colored. You have color here. You have purple. You have black. You have white. You have gray. You have light gray. You have black. Whatever. The thing is, the whole moral of the story is you went from dark color to color. And it's saying here non-white. They're saying here if you go back into the 60s, into the 70s, late 50s, you're going to start seeing indication that Impossibles were here. They've always been here. We just didn't see it. Anyway, And at the end of the reading, I don't think there's any more information. We're going to end off the reading here. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you. I love you. Have a great night. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it's a lot longer, but I hope it was informative and fun. Thank you. Love you. Have a great night. Peace out. I love you.